All right, welcome back. We're back on this map. I don't remember exactly all the lore from the last video. Um, but there's plenty we can do here. So, why isn't my hand working? Oh, okay. That's strange. I just okay. This is questionable. I do not know why this is happening. Uh-oh. Oh, there we are. Alrighty. So, where did we leave off? I'd say this is around kind of late ancient period. No, not really. It's kind of middle ancient period. We're seeing a lot of empires like down here. We won't call them Incans. Just call them South Americans. All right, I think we're just gonna go top to bottom here. Start with the good old North Mexicans. I might start calling them Rio Grandenese. Is that the proper synonym for that? Well, whatever. Anyways, we're gonna start taking over the California coast, which is very nice. There's a lot of resources there. Okay, this is just looking like I just drew California. That's not natural. Anyways, they pushed up the coast. These civilizations tend to gravitate towards the coastlines. There's gonna be a little border conflict here, but the Caribbeaners are gonna win. I'm a little, my throat's a little full. I just ate. My English is terrible. We're also just gonna take over some more of the East Coast, which is all good. As for the Panman, the Central America, the Mexicans, whatever you want to call them, let's also expand these guys as South American colony. We're just going to expand in South America because that's basically the only way they can go. This little Brazilian country needs some expanding to increase the amount of countries in South America. Anyways, oh, a little gap here. There we are. You make sure there's no lines. Yeah, I think no, that wouldn't be realistic. Well, why not? They kind of collide down here and start fighting, and the red guy, the orange guys win. They're a little strong. They take a lot of land in the process. I just realized I'm making them kind of look like modern Brazil, but who cares? This is my world. As for the coast people, Pacific South Americans, they're just going to expand along the coast. They're looking very Chilean. I think I called them Chileans at first, or Incans, whatever. Anyways, there's a few countries up there. As for, let's start with the Hispanians. They're going to continue down the Maghreb coast and take over more of Iberia because we love Iberia. And let's just give, nah, that's just, it just looks like Spain at that point. All right, they've built quite the empire here. As for the Tunisians, they're going to expand kind of inwards Africa, but it's kind of difficult because, it's Africa. So it's a lot of not good land. It's a little demotivating, isn't it? Okay. The Egyptians are also going to expand inland because they don't feel like fighting another war right now because they're a little old, so they're a little behind. They were the first civilization on here. These guys can't exactly go anywhere, but these ones can. We're going to continue down the Swahili coast. Is that what it's called? Swahili coast? I don't know. Inwards into the Horn of Africa. Why don't we add a new country here? Like, that's a strange color. Make a little, like Victoria civilization. Is it too similar to the Gauls or the French country? I think it kind of is. Make it different just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, it's not bad. As for the French, they're going to why don't we just have a huge war break off? Yeah, why not? All right, we need to pick some sides here. Obviously, the Iberians have interest in the French, and these guys have kind of been in harmony for a while, so I guess they'll be allies against the Iberians. And these guys used to have a lot of ambition down here, so why not have them also attack the French? And these guys hate these guys, so they'll be on that. Why not we just color code them a little bit? You know, there's gonna be a big scale war, like all out war. These guys, and I believe let's add these guys and no wait. Okay, so these guys are attacking these guys. These guys also hate these guys, so they're gonna go for them. And these guys hate these guys, so they're gonna attack them. As for the Reds, that's gonna be their team right there. I don't think the Scandinavians are gonna be much involved in here. All right, who would win this ideally? Well, first of all, the Violet people haven't been paying. Oh crap! These Violet people haven't been doing much in Ireland. They've been kind of leaving it abandoned. So the Scottish easily claim most of this, except down here where there was some troops reserved. And the why don't we color code these like red and whatnot? You know, yeah. Let's give that a try. We can have like occupation zones. That'll be a cool way to do the wars. Since we have like organized warfare now. All right, so the red team's going to move first, and they're going to well, obviously they own all of this. They're going to push down here into here. They kind of get stuck up here because there's a lot of green people over here, green team troops, and they're kind of stuck up here, but they're going to color their whole country red because they're on the red team. They do make a little headway down here. Oh wow, that's covering itself up. Okay, neat. I can just make this fully opaque. Just full color. Oh, okay, that's not going well. Let's try this one more. Let's try this one more time. All right, red team is conquering, and now they're too similar in color. Okay, this is there we are. So red team's there. I guess for these wars, I always have the red guys go first because that's kind of fair. Why don't I? Sorry, this is really janky, but you have to stick with me here. Why don't I just select these guys? That's not gonna work because they're fuck. Okay. These are all red team. Red team fellas. There's red team and a green team. It's very simple. It's just that simple. And these guys. I might start editing these. I don't know. I might have to make some jump cuts for these more convoluted things and processes. Yeah, that's fine. I just have to include Corsica and Sardinia. But for this first war, I might let you in on the process. they are. Where's magic wand? Oh, what's that? Alright, that's the red team, and as for the blue team, or not the blue team, the green team, they are, well, these are vassals, so they have to join in. So the Greeks are also going to be involved because they just have to. And these fellas are also on the green team. Oh, that's not okay. It's a lot of jank here, but that's the fun part of it. This is drawing. This is really boring for some people. It's really fun for me. It's really imaginative. And I don't care if you don't like it. I like it. All right. All right. We've established the teams mostly. Um, so if I do that, and yeah, it's all good. So red team's going to move first. We already had the Scottish go first. They've pushed back the English for the most part. They're kind of stuck down here. They've the English are pretty weak in the eastern parts of Yorkshire, but other than that, they're getting held up pretty hard in the west. The Franks easily just steamroll these guys. They're not much of a competition, and then they capitulate pretty soon. But that kind of wanes their aggression in the south, so they can't do much. Let's connect these. Kind of just do that. And the Venusians are pretty powerful compared to the Romans, so they make some naval landings here. And they even start invading a little bit of Greece and the boot. And the Hispania, they don't attack the Hispanians yet. All right, it's time for Green Team to make a move. The Greens are going to start with Hispania because they're the strongest. They're going to easily kick out the Franks and Venusians from Iberia. They're a very powerful country so far. They've made some strides in military technology. So they've kicked the mat pretty far. And the English are going to kick it to the souths pretty hard. They're also going to invade from the north and kind of encircle these fellas. Now the troops have arrived in Ireland. They're gonzo. And they're going to make a little crossing over here and try to do some maneuvers. Yeah. And the Romans are going to try their best to kick these guys out. They're going to land in Sardinia and maybe even Corsica. And they're going to push these guys back, maybe take Venice. That should be their capital because that's where they began, but whatever. All right, I think that's pretty good for the green team's move. It's time for the red team to go again. The red guys up here are struggling just a little bit. It's not looking great for them. They're able to roll back the aggression a little bit and make a little landing here. That's kind of it. The Reds kind of throw back the English aggression down here, and they try to attack the Iberians, but doesn't go too great. And in the east, wow, whoa, why did that just happen? Whoa, okay. They don't make too much headway here either. And they do a pretty good job of kicking them out of Sardinia, because that was a pretty swift invasion. And they take the Balearics while they're at it. And they don't do as well in Corsica, though, for some reason. They're just weaker. They attempt to take back Venice by cutting these guys off, and now they have a limited force down here, and they continue to push down into Rome. The Greeks are just easily destroyed by the Reds. This is they're not that powerful. Except down here where they have a lot more stored. They even land a little bit in Crete. I do not know who's winning right now. It's not very obvious. The Greens, it's time for their move. They just kick it to the Irish. The Irish are the Irish? The North British, they're kicked out of the war. These guys are struggling a little bit, but they make some extra landings on the sides since they have a lot of troops stored up here to fight the Celts off again. Their name's gonna change every like 5 seconds. I'm sorry, it's just how it is. They're making some landings, and these guys decide to do a little swift around and try to push for the capital, sort of. I'll establish actual capitals for these countries later, and they're actually making a lot of headway here, especially in Venice. They attempt to take the Balearics back, but it doesn't go great. And they land in Sardinia, try some more, and they fully take Corsica. It's not looking great for the Romans, though. They're not doing great, but they took Sicily back, and they're rolling down the Dalmatian coast. And Greece, Greece makes some pushbacks. They retake some of their eastern Thrace land. Anyways, the war is not looking too good for either of them, really. They have some strong contenders right here and here, and a lot of weak contenders. Hmm. It would be a really interesting curveball if just for no, just for a pretty good reason, actually. The Tunisians just join in because they have some reasons, like whoa, why is it? Oh, they join in on the war on the side of the red team because they dislike the Iberians, I suppose. So we're just going to go ahead and select all of these fellas and take the red, fill it in. All right, we have a new contender on the red team, and they're immediately just going to push the Iberians. The Iberians were not ready for this, by the way. They were not ready at all. They did not expect that. Well, they should have, but they didn't. So these guys have huge force. They're just going to completely push them through Mauritania up here. Not modern day Mauritania, ancient Mauritania. And these guys are kind of stuck down in the southern Maghreb, which isn't very resource good. They're going to push into Sardinia and the Balearics, take it fully, and even Sicily a little bit. Tunisians are pretty strong, but not too strong. Anyways, the Franks are holding up a little bit. They kick these guys out, but they struggle in Brittany and what's this place called again? I forgot. And they make a little landing of their own since it went so well over here. And they even do a little loop-de-loo around to Desmond, Ireland. Anyways, who's moving? The red team? Yes, the red team completely just pushes down the Roman coast, and they throw back some of the aggression here and some Greek aggression. Jeez, this isn't looking too good for mostly the green team. Yeah, the Iberians are struggling a little bit. Obviously, it's not looking great for them. I mean, they took back the Balearics, but they're struggling on the island over here, and they basically withdraw completely. So it's another win for the Reds. They oh, oops. They also withdraw from the southern Maghreb and just basically surrender it completely because they're so driven from resources from all the invasions down here. It's not looking great for anybody really. I said that again. Anyways, more pushing up here, and eventually they reach a peace agreement, and the war is ended. And with this peace agreement comes with established borders. First of all, we have to partition these guys. These guys are fully annexed by the French, no questions asked. And the Venusians settle with border here, kind of. Uh, need to undo some things. Yeah, so they have an established border here and there. Now the Venusians lost a little bit of land down here, but that's okay because they completely annexed Rome. They're basically super Roman state, and they didn't take that. As for the Tunisians, they take most of Iberia's African lands except here. I wonder if that will cause problems later. And they do some more expanding here. They did a lot of expanding during the war as well. Just because it's wartime doesn't mean they can't expand a little bit. And the French also kind of draw a natural extent here. Oh, no, I forgot to... Hold on. As for these fellas up here, they basically just share each other's islands. So we have Ireland, sort of, and a British nation, except they take a lot of Southern Ireland. So basically, just Northern Ireland is what they're left with. I changed my mind. I didn't want this to be too much like real life. Anyways, um, these guys basically just they let the Greeks expand a little bit. It's pretty good, and then they make a little border here. Boom. You have established borders in Europe. This huge Frankish empire just reigns completely. Oh, also, I forgot to mention these guys did that. Yeah, it's pretty tough. Anyways, the Vestfold people are pushing up the Norwegian coast and into Scandinavia. There's a lot of mountains here. They're sort of mountaineers. And the Greys are just pushing up here as well. Light Greys are continuing to steal the coast because that's just what they do. And they kind of establish some stuff over here. Pretty big. And as for these guys, they're just going to expand a bunch. Into random places. Wow, it's not what I wanted. Not quite. So these guys are pretty big. And about oh, well, before we move on, let's show the rest of the expansion. These guys move up, down, here, there, and everywhere. Looking pretty crazy, pretty square almost. Anyways, now we're going to establish actual cities and whatnot. Established nations, basically. So, the Frankish Empire builds their capital somewhere around here. That's where it was during the war. We're not going to put them in like the real places. So, this doesn't. We're not going to put it in Paris. That's just boring. So these guys put their capital down here. The Brits kind of decide to put it up here, and the Irish just throw it in there. And the Hispanians decide to put it down here near Andalusia, and the Tunisians, they just put it in Tunis, really. These Italians of sorts decide to put it on Venice, where they came from. These strange people, they discovered the water, so they just put it here. The Greeks obviously put it on a random island. And now let's put it on the Peloponnese. The Egyptians also joined in on the new capital deal and established themselves with a Nile capital. They actually, for tactical purposes, put it down the Nile a little bit. These guys also join in. That there and that there. Oh wait, that's just Copenhagen. Whatever. These guys don't join in on the cool little um, modernization alliance, not alliance, agreement. And we're going to establish actual names for these now because we can do that. because they're not going to do as much expanding now because they're established nations as we mentioned earlier. So there's a cooler font we can use. Yeah, that's too. Usually we use Comic Sans. That would be funny. Tunisia is down here. Iberia is over here. Francia up here. I'm basing their names off of real places. Their culture is nothing alike, by the way. Thought I should add that. Brit. Nah, Britain's a little. What should we call these people? Uh, yeah, we're just gonna call them Britannia. Let's just use a small text size. Okay, that's a little too small. And now some of these other tribal nations aren't really going to have established stuff. Um, yeah, let's do that. Where are these guys going to be called? We can call them like Slavia, because they're kind of Slavic. Is that a real place kind of name? Slavia? Sounds kind of stupid. What should we call these guys? We can call these guys the, hmm, what could we call them? I mean, Swedes would be kind of boring. Um, what was like the Latin name for? Well, they didn't have a name for Scandinavia, did they? Yeah, they didn't. Scandinavia. Oh, right now. Yeah, because they never discovered it, really. Okay. Let's just call it Norland. That's a cool name, isn't it? I did absolutely no context behind it, but sure. Let's give it a shot. And let's call this Norway. No, Nor Coast. That's funny. This is making stupid names. Why am I so concerned about this? Yeah, it's going on YouTube. Yeah, it's going to be on my digital foot forever, but there's nothing embarrassing about it, I guess. I don't know. Why did I say that? Why am I saying anything? Let's just call this like Finnmark. That's a fun name. That's what this area appears called, I'm pretty sure. Except, wait, these guys don't really have a capital, so they can't have a name. No capital, no name, pal. These guys are going to be Egyptians. There's Greece. There we are. We have some established European nations. I hope this doesn't cause trouble in the future. Anyways, as for the Americans, well, we should touch up on India. We haven't seen really any action here in a while. Or no, we're still using the brush tool because these idiots are. Oh wow! Oh, I'm in the wrong layer. So these Indian nation place is just expanding ever much. These guys, instead of expanding into India, well, let's just go ahead and give God, it's so hard to maneuver. Let's just go ahead and give the rest of this to them. There we are. These guys are just going to be a little smart and go to Myanmar, where they're going to collide with the Indo-Chinese, which is not going to cause any problems in the future, I'm sure. A lot of this is foreshadowing. Take notes. Anyways, we have the kind of what's the sea called? I forgot. Wow, how embarrassing. Anyways, the Filipinos are just going to expand into the rest of New Guinea. And that's kind of it for now. Maybe we'll have like an Asian war. It's a good idea, Asian war. The Australians are going to continue to move along the coast because the desert exists. Yep. They're just going and going. They've amassed quite the coastline there. And the Victorians. Is this like Victoria? I don't even know anymore. They're just going to expand across and across. And they're going to line up with the. Oh wow, those are very European looking lines. By European, I mean straight. We have to be very precise here. There we are. Oh, nope, wrong tool. Let's just fix those. These guys are just gonna go with that. Yeah. Anywho, we have. Ooh, the names don't look that bad. The Comic Sans is just for fun, really. Germany hasn't been touched up on, really. We'll see. Anyways, as for these Chinese fellas, they're just going to dedicate themselves to length, like always. And these guys are going to continue to push up to here. And they're going to touch up there on the Warfish. See? Oh, wow. The Japanese, how are those two? No. Okay. Sorry, it's been a while. By a while, I mean one day. Japanese are going to land on this coastline and basically just take everything else inside of it. Jesus. Yeah. Japanese. And these Guangxi people, isn't this where the Guangxi Creek was in Hoi 4? I don't know. We're just gonna expand, expand, expand just a little bit. We're gonna have a little border conflict down here, but who cares? It's ancient times. We'll just behead each other, and then it'll be resolved eventually. And the Chinese are going to do what they usually do: go wherever they feel. Goody. And these Indo-Chinese, they can't do much. They can kind of push into the jungle a little bit, but that's kind of it. All right. Well, every country on the planet's gone to turn so far. Hmm, I think now's a good time for a little bit of a conflict. Can you guess what continent it is in? Oh, you wouldn't believe it. It's in Asia, because of course it is. All right, we need to establish a kind of team system again. These two are pretty close actually for what they are. So they're gonna team up. These guys' capitals are they're temporary capitals of sorts. These people share common interests in invading these people who put their capital right there, even if it doesn't make sense. These guys want to restore their empires, so they're going to go there. And the Japanese also want to be on the red team because they also want a piece of this. And these guys, of course, are defenders of the people. Wow, you really can't see the. Okay. You're just going to have to believe it's there for a little bit. So those guys, these fellas. Ooh, wow. Nope. Lower the tolerance a little bit. There we are. We're just going to fill this all in with green, because this is the green team. And then the rest of these countries are going to be painted red. Now you may think, wow, there's a lot more countries on that team than there are in this team. But these guys are strong. Chinese, they're pretty strong. The Indo-Chinese, they've been around a while. I'm pretty sure they were the first Asian country, right? Were they? I don't remember. No, wait, the Chinese were first. Obviously. We have a little conflict happening now. A bunch of countries are competing for land, really. Alright, well, let's begin. We're going to have the red team go first, as per usual. The red team always goes first. That's a new rule. They're just going to push into southern Bengal country, sort of. And also a little bit into this. Oh, wow. They immediately took the capital of that one. Huh. The Chinese, of course, are going to take this little guy down here, because that's what they're more worried about, is Taiwan. They're going to connect back up here. These guys are basically just going to capitulate, yeah. They didn't stand a chance. Anyways, as for these guys up here, they had all their attention really focused on the south, so they're not going to do much except do a little landing here, move back around. So red team are kicking pretty heavy ass real quick. But this war was a little bit unexpected, so it's bound to cause some trouble in logistics. So it's time for the green team to make a move. The green team are going to make quite a move. They're going to push these guys all the way back. Let's just get out of here. There we go. They made quite the offensive there. They've also decided to play some naval games. They cut off Japan here. They're very tactical. They don't have quite power, but they have tactic. And they're going to jump straight to the capital of Japan, which is going to weaken them severely. And this land over here is quite unattended, so it's going to be quite easy to take over. And they're just going to take the rest of this because they're powerful. Not really, not powerful, but smart. They're smart. And they share some of these tactics with their southern brothers, who also do the same thing to the Indo-Chinese. Straight to their capital. They meet a lot of aggression, by the way. These are battles, except one person has the advantage because they're the one making the move. There we go. And they also make a tiny landing in Sumatra, so that's a thing. Anyways, oh wow, oops. After seeing the green team's success and having some extra ambitions, another country joins in. Can you guess who it was? And I totally didn't just notice they exist again recently. It's the Filipinos, and they've established their capital in Sulawesi, which is mildly inconvenient because it's pretty close to their main rival. So they're going to join in on the green team side. Boom. Got another green teamer. I like these colors, actually. I think I'm going to use these more in the future. Anyways, we got the Filipinos on the green team now, so they're going to make a quick move out of nowhere. Ooh. They're making crazy moves in Timor and captured a lot of eastern Borneo. But then they're kind of held off because the Chinese realized, oh shit, we're being invaded. But they also take Taiwan because the Chinese didn't really care about it. Alright, that's some pretty good progress they're making. Okay, they don't own these islands, I forgot. This is not covered. Okay, now it's time for the red team to make another move. The red team meet up here because they can do that. Let me just fill this place in because I don't like how it looks. And then they make a huge offensive into India. Nope, please don't. Don't do that. Okay. So what was that? They do that. They immediately take back their capital because they have a lot of troops, honestly. And they start rolling back the aggression in the islands. They're not as successful here, but they easily kick them out of most of Western Timor. And they do some tactics here. You know, a little encirclement here, a little encirclement there. They also try to land in Sulawesi, but it's not too efficient. But they have a beachhead. As for the Chinese front, they uh, they 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 they're doing pretty good. They're pretty powerful, as mentioned earlier. So it's not too difficult to just roll in here and take a lot of things. They kick those guys out. They take the capital of these guys, which basically screws them because they have nothing else. So they easily capitulate. There's another green teamer taken out, and they push over here, and then they take their capital of Japan back. So that's good. It's not looking too good for the green team, especially the Filipinos. If the red team wins, the Filipinos are going to get punished severely. And that is not going to be good. Anyways, it's time for the green team to make a move, and there's not much they can do. They try to push over here, and they're held back by the huge front. They have a good bit of success. The Filipinos land in Vietnam, and they're kind of not noticed for a while until they do get held back. And then they attack Borneo, but they're held off. They kick them out of Sulawesi. They try to invade Timor again, but that doesn't work. And they try to set sail over here, you know, like that. But they get caught, and a lot of them die. They tried to make a little beachhead here, but it's not great. Anyways, they invaded from Taiwan into southern China, which was completely unexpected because they barely even knew Taiwan was taken by now. And as for these fellas, they take this back and basically pushed them out of Korea because they're kind of surrounded. And they decide to do a little navy tactic here and jump straight for the capital of China, which works. And now they hold the capital of China, which is cool, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, it's time for the red team to move again. They notice that, oh crap, Vietnam's being invaded. So, it's gone. Their beachhead here is destroyed. Their beachhead here is destroyed pretty well. And they finally lose over here. And the Philippines, their aggression is basically completely rolled back. And they decide to invade Sulawesi, which is extremely easy from all the famished Philippine troops, and they lose. And they throw them back here a little bit, but they're fighting hard. And then they make a little landing in Thailand from Japan and China as a little joint invasion. Speaking of Japan, they make a bunch of naval invasions really quick, which is one of their tactics, I guess. They take all of Sakanin back and just plow through here. It's very under guarded. And then they connect back up here, take the rest of this basically, which is their capital, and they capitulate. Can you believe it? They capitulated. As for the Indian front, they're punched back very hard. And it's not much they can do. Yikes. So at this point, the green team's like, well, we're fucked. So they surrender, and that's the end of the war. For them, at least. And they decide to have a similar pact to what Europe did. And did I delete that? No. Okay. They decide to do a similar thing as Europe and kind of establish borders and establish nations. So first of all, these Indians are heavily punished. They are forced to unite into one nation here, which is right here. They're forced to unite into one. No, not forced to unite, but a large amount of this is given to these guys just to consolidate the power of the Indians, and then they're actually given a little bit of land now that I think of it, but it's mostly establishing borders is what they're doing, and they are forced to not expand anymore east way, or else they will be invaded and very much destroyed. And it's pretty easy, as proven earlier. So there's India established. The rest of this goes to the Indo-Chinese. No questions asked. So they did pretty good down here, Indo-Chinese. Then the Chinese get a little bit of Guangxi, and they're pretty big now. They immediately take all of Sulawesi, because they can, and they establish a new country in the east, which will be what's a good color that I haven't used yet. Is that similar to any other kind of the Mexicans? Uh, there we are. This is going to kind of act as a puppet state for the people, the Indo-Chinese. Yes, that's the word. That's the word. That's okay. So, new country here. It's a vassal of the Indo-Chinese, just because they couldn't take all of this, really. And the Philippines are kind of just, yeah. All of this is completely annexed by the Chinese, of course. And they establish border here. They get a little bit of this, too, for some reason. And the rest of this is kind of split between the Chinese and the Japanese. Oh, no, please no. Don't do that. Okay. And there we are. And these guys are pushed back down to here. And that nation is completely capitulated. Now, as for these guys, a lot of it is given to not China. A lot of it is given to China, obviously, because that was their war goal, really. And China's looking pretty fat, pretty big, pretty strong. Oh, and they award Taiwan to Japan because they needed to do something for the Japanese, I guess. Except give them a lot of Manchuria. They also did that. And these nations are forced to kind of just run to the desert. Yeah. So you know, let's just take this and completely fill it. They're pretty much gone, except not. Wait. So they're kind of pushed back into Central Asia. That's a really ugly shape, but I don't care. And Chinese and Japanese. So that's basically the whole peace deal, except they have to, of course, establish each other as nations because they do that now. So let's go make some countries. Of course, these guys are surprisingly reluctant to do it. So their capital city's there. The Chinese put them near modern Beijing. The Japanese put it near their war capital. It was pretty good. The Filipinos just put it like somewhere. They don't. The Indo-Chinese throw it right here. The Sri Lankans, I guess I'll call them, they go there, and the Indians are along this little creekish thing here. This is a peninsula, right here. Yeah, and these guys just they just threw it somewhere. This most of this stuff was written by the Indo-Chinese, so they just did whatever they felt like. Anyways, it's time to make some names. Of course, this will be China. China. And now we're going to have Indochina. Indochina is established, and so is this little New Guinea nation. They just kind of exist. They're not allowed to expand, of course. Yep, Guinea. They do. They exist. These videos are gonna be a lot longer now because of that. All the names that I have to make. The Philippines. Oh, okay, it's not working. That's great. Okay. Oh, it's just like fuck. Oh, okay. India is built over here. Sorry, I'm being a little quiet right now. I'm writing names. And these fellers down here. What does this look like without the water? Whoa, that's strange. Okay. Let's just call this some stupid stuff like Indo-Islandia. Yes, that's the craziest name I've ever written. Jesus, I can't say things today. Yep, that's that. And there is another country over here. I don't think you've heard of it. It's this weird country called Japan. God damn. Let's just call this some stupid stuff like desertia. That's just that's just a desertia. There we go. Nations have been established in Asia, and the Europeans are starting to learn about them a little bit. They're kind of learning. Oh hey, there's a place called China in the east. Oh hey, there's a bunch of losers in the east called Desertia. Wonder who those guys are. Oh hey, there's a country called India. Huh, that's interesting. Now back to the Americas. There's not going to be quite a war yet because there's still a lot of land to go around. But a bunch of these fellers over here just decide, hey, I want to leave. I want to go north. So that's exactly what they do. They land up here in modern day Washington. And is that too similar to another color? Yeah. They go up here and they push for the Arctic. They're a bunch of masochists. They're really trying to explore. I'm gonna give them a lot of expansion because there was a lot that happened during those Asian wars. Not stuff happens. So these guys just kind of do this. They claim the insides of this, so they basically own it. Oh no 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 no! Don't do that. Bad. There we are. So there's a new nation up north. That's pretty cool. Anyways, a little inferior minor wars fought again between the British and the brown country of sorts that I can't find a good name for. Did I just say the British? That just loomed on me. The Brazilians. Anyways, they win again because they're just good like that. And these guys are forced to split. They just they're forced. They're forced to split. So there's two of these guys now. Alright, that's good. Yep, there's northerners and there's southerners. And they get a little bit of land down here too. Because why not? And these guys are a little bit more aligned with the orange fellers because they are. I said so. And we're gonna make another new country down here in Panama. These fellers down here, they don't want none of that green business, that lime, that country business. I don't know. They don't want to be part of this country anymore. So they do that. They break away in a revolutionary war. That was okay. I can't draw basic lines. Okay, so there's a few countries in the Americas now. They're balkanizing a little bit, but not nothing crazy, nothing wild. Anywho, these Ottoman type fellers are also expanding a little bit, and they're doing quite a lot. They even make some landing in Caspian Sea. Hopefully they don't run into the desert people. That would not end well for the desert people. These guys are very destructive, and they've attacked a lot of people. They're brutal conquerors. What did I just do? Holy moly! Did I just? Oh, I drew gradient. That's whoa, that's wild. They also just decide they're going to make some European conquest. You know, so they do that, and they're starting to get the attention of some of these Eastern European nations, even this one, and even the Grey Fellers, and some of the Southern nations are kind of siding with them because they're old timers. Not a lot of people like them, you know. Oh, also these guys just decide to establish themselves, get with the times. So let's do that. Let's draw them. These guys are around modern Riga. Did I say I wasn't gonna? Okay. As we said earlier, these guys are Finnmark. This is a fun name. It's a freaking cool name. Finland. I no longer have to call these guys they're Chinese. No, I just say these guys are China. That's the best part of this. No more struggling to find out what I call these people. And did I put the? Okay, no, I put it on the right layer. Okay. And these guys put their capital near. This is a fun place right here. There's water here, water there, water everywhere. So they're a country now, a real country, a nation. I guess we'll call them. What's the original name? Kiev. Yeah, it's like Kiev, but I added yeah to it because why not? Why not? Tell me that much. If you have something to say about my fun names, screw you. And this nation down here even decides to establish itself. So they're gonna do that now. I'll just make the text first. They are the Caspia. Oh, okay. Caspia, because they're Caspian Sea, really. That's where they are basing a lot of their operations now. So the spread of modernization of nationality is becoming more apparent. A lot of people are doing it now, and hopefully it doesn't cause any, I don't know, nationalism. That would be a shame. So they base their operations in Caspia now, Caspian Sea. They are Caspia. These guys don't really have a name. They're kind of disgruntled because they're literally a desert mostly, except Qatar and Bahrain and parts of the UAE and Saudi Arabia, I guess. And they don't own most of them. They don't own really any good land. Um, the borders are still a little bit loose around here, but that's okay. Anyways, these guys down here do absolutely nothing, and these guys instead are expanding into Africa. We haven't touched up on Africa too much. Okay, I'm using the wrong layer. So they're like, oh crap, if I go this way, those guys will definitely kill me. So yeah. They just go through the jungles. I'm pretty sure it's jungle mostly because it's the DRC. And jungles are habitable by animals, which humans are. So there's nothing wrong with this. Well, the jungle wasn't very habitable for the U.S. Marines. Say, take that as you will. These guys just they expand. Oh crap! I forgot to. Oh crap! Not again. There we go. They even start taking Comoros and northern Madagascar. But this is causing a lot of problems because they're a very extensive empire. So they do what any extensive empire does, and they break into pieces, which is just great, just awesome. Like, I love dividing countries. So fun, so freaking fun. So these guys are the wow, holy moly! These guys are the neon yellow country now, because that's what they do apparently. And these guys are kind of stuck down here in Africa. What a shame. What a terrible fate. I just realized these guys just their color is annoying me. Their color is so. I did not mean to say it like that. Okay, their hue is agitating me. So they're gonna be that now. Boom. Anyways, I think this is a pretty good point to leave off this video. I've been recording for an hour. The last one was how long? I don't even remember. Uh, so we let's overview. We have a kind of Cascadian Alaskan nation up here. We have the good old Mexicans, the Central Americans, the Caribbean people. Now are kind of coming to the mainland America. Sorry, hiccups. And they even land in South America. With the Brazilians, who are extremely powerful and have toppled this brown empire that has ruled for a long time into two, and it might break into more later. Who knows? We have a Victorian nation over here that's appeared on the. Is that Lake Victoria? I swear to God, it is. Okay, it is. I'm right. I'm correct. Yes. I don't feel bad. This is a Victorian nation of sorts. It's very ugly because it's still loose tribes. The old Arabians kind of are still here. They've just migrated, and the new Arabians here, they've got a lot of infertile land. Not as much as these guys though. The mainland Arabians, the desert. Well, these are desert people. We have the big Caspian Empire, just called Caspia. The old Egyptians, the brand new big Tunisians, which are probably going to take over a lot of the coast here. Maybe tumble a few times later. The Iberians, toppled by warfare. The French, who are a lot more powerful now because of warfare. The Italians, which are a lot more powerful because of warfare, and so are the Greeks. And Slavians, which have just established themselves, so is the Finnmark people. And Norland and Norcoast are bigger now, I guess. And Britannia and Ireland, kind of. Okay, I'm just gonna give some of. I don't like looking at Ireland like this. Just give it to them. Britannia has been reestablished. They settled on some island agreement. And Ireland. Okay, it's just Britain and Ireland again. Okay, cool. Anyways, we have the Kievians, which are very hateful of Caspians. That might cause problems later. We have the Desertians, which have deserted their mainland. They kind of just broke off China and ran over here. So let's see how that goes. India, looking good. They didn't lose too much in the war, the Asian War. That was the first European war and the Asian War. Those are the names. The Indo Islanders. Um, they're not looking too good. I should change it to ND Islanders. End Islanders. Whatever. Indochina, pretty big now after defeating India alongside China, who have kind of united themselves. And Japan is looking huge and expansive. The Philippines have been isolated by warfare. And these Guineans, they exist now, I guess. They're a kind of a slave workplace. They're not great. They're working for these guys, and they have a lot of people living there that are working for them. Slavery is still a big thing, by the way. This is barely scraping the late ancient times. Maybe medieval times will be later once there's like a bunch of nations and we can balkanized the world a little bit. And we had the Australians who haven't done much except take the coast. So thanks for watching, I guess. Sorry my commentary sucks. I'm still new to it. I just got this microphone. And I'll see you in the next one when I get bored again and feel like drawing again. All right, bye.